everybody, look, we got Pepe Larraz. We got Pepe Larraz on the flagship character of Marvel Comics, so it's gotta be good, right? Right? Howdy, I'm Kurt Williams, and today we're looking at the latest issue 1 of Amazing Spider-Man by Joe Kelly and Pepe Larraz. Pepe Larraz is a gift bestowed upon the comics medium and humanity as a whole by God or aliens or the Illuminati, who knows? Either way, he's fantastic, and I will buy anything with his name on it, which is why I have all 5 issues of Blood Hunt, which was terrible. When Pepe Larraz did House of X at the beginning of the Krakoan era, it felt like a bolt of lightning. It was the freshest, most dynamic, most perfect style for that era of X-Men. And I have been dying to see him on Spider-Man because I feel like his style perfectly caters to the high energy, kind of happy-go-lucky, very bright vibes of the typical Spider-Man issue. And he does. Plenty of times in this issue, he absolutely nails it. He has Spider-Man down. He has the vibes down. He is, of course, an all-around outstanding artist to begin with. I think that as the issue goes, his art gets better and better. He leans into what he's really good at, whereas at the beginning of the issue, it's very bright and clean and crisp, which he's perfectly capable of, and he pulls off very well, but I think it's the moody, more textured stuff towards the end of the issue that really play to his strengths. Of course, we can't talk about how amazing Larraz's work is without acknowledging Marte Gracia's work on the coloring, which is the perfect complement for Pepe's work. I'm not a colorist, so I don't know anything about the theory, and it's hard for me to put into words exactly what he's doing right, but whatever it is, he's doing the heck out of it. My thoughts on the writing are not quite as positive as my thoughts on the art, but really quick I want to mention that I just was interviewed on Heroes for Hire Comic Club, so if you're not tired of hearing my voice yet and you want to hear some of my juicy secrets, go check out that video. Now, as far as the writing goes, Joe Kelly is definitely a veteran comic writer. He's been doing this for over 30 years, I'm pretty sure, and he's done all the main stuff. He was also one of the 4 dudes, I think, who created Ben 10, so if you don't know anything about Joe Kelly, now you know that. He's proven himself as a solid, reliable writer, but I wouldn't say he's done anything super flashy, nothing super noteworthy, at least not in the past 15 years or so. And this issue kind of continues that trend. In fact, the opening sequence of this issue where Peter Parker is interviewing all over the place and trying to get a job is so similar to the opening sequence of Brand New Day by Dan Slott and Steve McNiven that it kind of felt like we had gone back in time by like 10 years. But in the first issue of Brand New Day, we meet Mr. Negative for the first time, and we have a lot of stuff going on in Peter's life that gets complicated really fast. We have some really dark material that really grabs you and makes you want more, and we have J. Jonah Jameson having a heart attack drawn by the amazing Steve McNiven, so there's just a lot more going on in this issue. Whereas in this issue 1, yeah, he's trying to get a job and he's having a hard time because he's, you know, Spider-Man, and that takes up a lot of his time and responsibility and commitment. But aside from him getting a job in this issue, there's not much else going on. We look in on the Hobgoblin, who's employing this other creepy guy who may or may not be someone in a Venom costume. We don't know yet, and that part is fine. I mean, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't really grab me. It doesn't feel like a new chapter in Spider-Man's life, just kind of another issue. And Peter Parker has a new girlfriend, I think. I don't know. I didn't read the last, like, 100-something issues of Spider-Man because it's been pretty mid for a long time. If you don't want any spoilers, just skip ahead like 15 seconds, but this is the big splash page at the end where we see Spider-Man being attacked by all of his villains, which clearly is probably not happening. It's probably a hallucination, but I guess we're supposed to take it as a big deal that all of them are attacking him at once. I mean, if we're talking about ruts in the history of Spider-Man, him hallucinating that all of his villains are attacking him at once is like one of the deepest ruts. So plot-wise, there's not really anything going on that gets me excited. It just feels like another issue, and it happens to cost $6 instead of $4. Dialogue is fine, the character work is fine, I guess. We're just re-establishing these characters that we've had forever, kind of a reboot moment for them. So the biggest draw for this issue really is that it has Pepe Larraz on art. And like I said, I'll buy anything that Pepe Larraz draws, because check out this panel right here where Spider-Man throws a truck on the Rhino. That is just amazing. That's honestly not what you'd expect from Pepe Larraz, but it really works. And look at the physics going on here. This page is closer to what I like about Larraz's work because it feels very organic and textured. I love his choice of detail where he chooses to put in those thicker lines and where he chooses to have some of that airbrushed looking thin stuff. This page, even though it's kind of drab. You know, there's not that much color going on here. I think is a great example of what Pepe Larraz has to offer to the comics medium, what he and only he can bring to it. Oh, and then you have panels like this where he has so much mood and so much atmosphere in this one panel, and of course Marte Gracia is doing a fantastic job with the colors, but the perspective and the lighting and the choice of detail, it's just, it's beautiful. But of course, one of the skills that makes him so marketable is that he's able to draw faces in such a pleasing to look at and emotive way. I love the details he chooses for his faces. And at the back of the issue, there's a couple really quick backup stories by Joe Kelly and John Romita Jr., and I'm sure if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I am not a fan of John Romita Jr., but even if I try to overlook the art, which is not my favorite, I feel like these backup stories are just kinda not that consequential. I'm not hooked. That's it. I'm just not hooked. So if you came to Amazing Spider-Man because of Pepe Larraz, that's gonna be all you end up staying for, because this is an average, semi-unremarkable issue other than Pepe Larraz. And I wouldn't be surprised if Larraz only works on it for like 5 or 6 issues and then moves on to a higher paying gig, because Marvel really can't afford to hire superstar artists anymore for some reason. Or at least they act like they can't afford to hire them. So overall, I would give issue 1 of Amazing Spider-Man by Joe Kelly and Pepe Larraz a score of, I don't know, a 7 out of 10. It's average. It's fine. If it wasn't Pepe Larraz on the art, it would definitely score lower, because there's really nothing amazing going on here. You might have noticed that my bookshelves have changed since my last video. That's because I have just moved into a new house, so I have a lot more room for comic books in here, and I'm planning to do a comic bookshelf tour as my next video. So I wanted to get everything sorted so it's easy to show you. And then as soon as I'm done, I'm going to change it, because this wall of books behind me is a little bit overstimulating. So stay tuned for the bookshelf tour. Check out that interview I just did. Of course, support your local comic shop, and until next time, I'm Kurt Williams, and you are somebody else.